And welcome to this week's edition of the Steel Report, and we're going to be talking about a special Christmas album to benefit local nonprofits, and our program begins right now.
Now from KWWL, this is the Steel Report.
Well, right now on the Steel Report, we're going to talk about a special holiday musical album, The Christmas Project, which will be benefiting a couple of local nonprofit organizations. The first being the House of Hope, housed on 4th Street in the Ross Christensen Center. Now, House of Hope helps women in crisis turn their lives around. And the other nonprofit organization will be the Youth Art Team, which, by the way, just celebrated its 10th anniversary. So before we meet this week's special guest, let's watch this very short video on the two nonprofits which will benefit from the Christmas Project album.
The Youth Art Team is a group of artists of all ages who do public art projects that give them a place to share their own ideas and take ownership of their own community.
House of Hope is housing and support system for single mothers and women aging out of foster care as they work to become self-sufficient.
I'm excited about the Christmas Project because it was really fun to hear about a group of adult artists coming together to create this album that's going to help the Youth Art Team artists do more work.
I'm excited about the Christmas Project because it shows the community supporting single moms and women aging out of the foster care at a time when they need it the most.
Music has a really cool way of bringing people together around the holidays.
Now, you're going to learn more about the great work that these nonprofit organizations do later in the program. But right now, via Zoom, unfortunately, once again this week, we're going to have to go with Zoom for a few more weeks, it looks like. So let's meet our guests here to talk about the Christmas Project album. As you know, it uses all local talent. Chuck Rowe is co-founder of the Midwest Studies Group. That's a consulting and fundraising advisory business here in the Cedar Valley, with former Cedar Falls Mayor Jim Brown as Chuck's partner in this venture. Also want to mention that the IT company ACES played a big role in creating the Christmas Project last year when Chuck was with ACES, so we thank them as well. Also joining us today is Tony Kryenbrink, the founder and owner of IFC Studios in Cedar Falls. His business is a creative design studio for web, video, and graphic designs with offices in Cedar Falls and Frederick, Colorado. And please welcome back to the program Andy Footman, a UNI graduate and partner in a couple of new local ventures here in the Cedar Valley, Sidecar Coffee, which now has 4 local coffee shop locations, a couple in Cedar Falls, 2 in Waterloo, plus their online service. And Andy's also a partner in the Verve Kombucha in the old public market building in downtown Waterloo. So guys, welcome to the program, and nice to have you with us this year, Chuck, as well. So Chuck, you and Andy, your wives actually lead the teams of their respective organizations, the House of Hope and the Youth Art Team. So they are apparently letting you do the album promotion. So Chuck, I know that Tony told us last year that you actually were the brains behind this. It was your concept. What gave you the idea? What was the kind of the impetus to come up with this album?
Yeah, so, you know, Tony's very gracious by saying I'm the brains of this. You know, so it's definitely, everyone has contributed to this, and I think that's why this idea came about, is that everyone contributes to it. And so the thing that's a lot of fun about this is that a lot of times when we think about how to help a nonprofit, we think of people giving thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, when really it's just everyday people just doing a little bit. And when you combine all those little things people are doing to contribute to something, it can grow into something big.
So before we go any further, let's talk a little bit about how people can get a hold of the album known as the Christmas Project. And Andy, why don't you take that? What's the best way to get the album, and how much does it cost?
Sure, we have physical copies behind the counter at any Sidecar Coffee, the shops, and then you could also get a digital copy at thechristmasmix.com, and they're $15.
So $15, no deadline or anything like that. I remember last year they had to order by a certain time, so this year it's just $15. Now, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the only deadline would be that we're going to run out of the CDs.
Oh, okay.
If you want a physical CD, you're going to want to get there. Otherwise, we're not going to probably run out of the digital copies.
I have a copy myself over at my desk, so that's you're talking about the physical copy, the actual CD. But then this also, as you mentioned, is downloadable pretty easy.
Yep, and then of that $15, you know, the entire amount goes to the organizations it goes to the House of Hope and Youth Art Team.
Tony, I know that your organization, your business, has done a lot to help these local entities. And how did you get involved personally in this? Because I know you guys are all good friends. So tell me how you got involved.
Yeah, so I've known Chuck for a while, and Chuck came to me and said, "Hey, I've got a crazy idea. If you want to be a part of it, let's talk about it." And of course, I said yes. So Chuck sat down and told me and Andy both kind of about the project and what it included. And for me, it was really a no-brainer to be involved. Talk about working with two great people in Chuck and Andy, and supporting two great organizations. Really in a way that involves the entire community. For me, it was easy to say yes, and we already had great relationships with Andy at Sidecar, managing his website, and we're able to spin up the ChristmasMix.com as well fairly easily. So for us, we got to be creative, and we got to work alongside two wonderful people. So it was an easy answer for us to be involved.
And I've been on the IFC Studios website, and you guys are a little crazy there, but that's what it takes in your business to get those concepts and put them into action, doesn't it?
That's right, Ron. You need a little bit of crazy, just the right amount, not too much though.
And this particular album features local artists like Heidi Rush and Zach Elster. And Andy, you're going to fill us in on some of the others.
Second song, yours truly. Third song is Dirk Weiss. He's from Redeemer Church. His wife actually worked for us at Sidecar for a while. She's really great. Jordan Michelson from Cedar Heights Baptist. Brad Myers from Orchard Hill Church. Daniel Liu from Hope City Church, downtown Waterloo. Jeff McCourt, Cedar Heights Baptist. Michael Reed from Heartland Vineyard Church. And Kate, Brad's wife, from Orchard Hill.
Beautiful.
And then Felicia Smith Knowles, if you know Felicia.
It's really a great assortment of local talent,
really
isn't it?
is,
Just amazing. And you'll notice that my news co-anchor, Abby Turpin, and her husband, Travis Turpin, have done a song for the Christmas Project, and Abby told me about that in an earlier interview.
With Mary we behold it, the Virgin Mother kind.
And we did the song Lo, How a Rose Are Bloomin', which is from the 17th century. It has a German origin.
From tender stem has sprung.
Probably a lot of people recognize the Mormon Tabernacle Choir did a very famous version of it. And we just did it with Travis. My husband plays the guitar. He's a local realtor, but he's also a performer. And Chuck had seen Travis and I do a show at the Gallagher Blue Dorm back in July, and so that's why he asked us to be on the CD.
She bore to man a Savior, when half spent was the night.
Everybody loves Christmas music. So when we told people about what we were doing, all the artists were really excited because, how often you get the chance to sing on an album where you're singing all these old school traditional songs. I think that part was a lot of fun for people. But the other thing that I thought was really neat was all the folks that were involved had no questions whatsoever when we told them what this was for. And when you tell folks, we're trying to help these two great organizations, you need to volunteer your time to do this. You're not getting paid any money. You're not going to be getting much glory. All you're doing is really just being part of something that's part of a bigger picture. And once we explained that to them, everyone was just super excited and pumped to be part of this.
We'll continue our discussion about the Christmas Project musical album in just a moment. And welcome back to this week's edition of the Steel Report. Let's continue our discussion now as we talk about a great local project. It's called The Christmas Project, a musical album available right now for you.
Why wouldn't I like Christmas music? Who doesn't like Christmas music?
In the office when Jim tells Pam, if Dwight ever asks you if you want to be in a secret alliance, you look him in the eye and you say, absolutely I do. It's kind of the same way with Chuck. He comes up with a lot of crazy but great ideas. So when he approached IFC Studios and asked, do you want to be involved in the Christmas Project? I said, absolutely we do.
The Christmas Project is stripped down versions of Christmas favorites. So local musicians, just their voice and their instrument recording. For me, it was really scary because you hear all your imperfections, but in a way it's more personal and authentic, I think, and it's a really fun result.
The Christmas Project represents something that is created by the community, but also supports the community through these two great organizations in Youth Art Team and House of Hope.
Sometimes it's nice to take part in a project that has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with making money. All it does is have to make a difference in the community.
I love the idea of using the avenue of our business, Sidecar Coffee, to support these two local projects we really believe in. You can pre-order the CD on our website or at Sidecar Coffee locations.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Steel Report. We're talking about a great local project, the Christmas Project, which is an album that we've been talking about in the first segment. I mentioned that I wanted you to learn more about the two nonprofits which will benefit again this year from the Christmas Project proceeds. So let's take a moment right now to learn, first of all, more about the House of Hope.
My name is Mercedes, and I came to Waterloo from Cedar Rapids. I'm going to school at Hawkeye Community College to become a school teacher. My 2-year-old Daisy lives with me. Jesse helps me keep on track and not implode in my thoughts.
My name is Jessie Crispin, and I'm the new Outreach Case Manager at House of Hope. I started here in the fall. The reason why we needed an Outreach Case Manager is for our new Outreach program, and the goal of the Outreach program is to help our women on the waiting list. We have, at last check, 124 women on our waiting list in need of housing or other types of support. Without the Outreach program, the women on our waiting list are facing the very real possibility of homelessness.
I think House of Hope is important to the community because it's moms like me that are in the community, and we're raising the babies that are going to be the future of the community. And the more stress we have, the harder that is. And with this help, it definitely makes a difference.
I'm Susan Backus, and I'm case manager for the Pillars program, and I provide a little bit of financial mentoring with the women, and then I also help facilitate the Boost program here at House of Hope. Boost is a career readiness program that basically introduces the opportunity for the women to earn a livable wage with employer-paid benefits and just getting them ready for something beyond a minimum wage position.
So my name's Michelle, and this is my 6-year-old son Jax, and we've been at the House of Hope since August of 2019. My son was diagnosed with an astrocytoma tumor, which left him paralyzed from his nipples down. I still am not able to return to work with the crazy schedule, but I am able to start part-time school. So House of Hope has given us a home for him to come home to. I think it offers a safe place for moms with their kids. I know everybody here has a different story and a different background. I think the community is fortunate to have a place like this, especially since, you know, it really helped us.
You can't even begin to describe the need and the necessity of the moms and the families out there that don't have help and don't know where to get help.
My name is Santana Harris, and I got 4 kids, well, 3 here, and we're here because I was homeless. We worked together on a lot of stuff, like focusing on my kids, what they need, and like she helped me do my daycare papers, my daycare paperwork, so I can start going to daycare.
My name is Brooke Callahan. I'm the new Family Support and Wellness Case Manager at House of Hope. The new position, the family support worker side, really focuses on both the moms and their role as a mom and on the children. So another piece of that will be doing some wellness programming for the kids. So when kids come into the House of Hope, they're under a certain level of stress just as the moms are. Moving is stressful. Being in a homeless situation is very stressful. So we really want to provide some programming where that is therapeutic in and of itself, where the kids can manage their stress, where they can express themselves and express the big feelings that they have.
My name is Kayla, and my daughter is 3 years old. She will be 4 next month. We've been at House of Hope since, it's almost at 2 years, so April, a couple years ago. We have loved living here, and we've needed it. It was the break that we really needed to be able to tackle some old habits and also continue moving forward with a lot of things that I would not have been able to without being here. We're all moms. We all have stuff going on. We all have mistakes and stories and past. She's so happy being here. This is her home.
So that's just a little idea of what House of Hope does to help women through the course of the year, and they've been doing that for so many years now. Karen Rowe, your wife, is the executive director of House of Hope. I attended one of your luncheons and was really moved by the stories, the personal stories of the women directly impacted and helped by House of Hope.
Well, the thing that I find really interesting about House of Hope is that it's more than just a shelter, and a lot of people think that it's simply just a place for women to stay when they're homeless. But it's so much more than that. What they do is they help transition them from a point of where they have nowhere else to turn to maybe a point where they're able to live by themselves and be able to raise families and get jobs and be educated and do things that they weren't able to be in a position for earlier. House of Hope is able to put them in this new position where you just see so much potential for them and how they see a lot of potentials in themselves. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that excites my wife and the rest of the staff when they work there, is that when the women first go to House of Hope, it's about the staff trying to tell the clients how much potential they have. But then by the time they leave, it's the clients seeing the potential that they have in themselves. And I think that's the biggest thing that you see a difference in between just the homeless shelter, per se, to what House of Hope does.
And I mentioned also the youth art team.
Happy birthday, youth art team. Happy birthday, youth art team. Happy birthday, youth art team.
Happy birthday, youth art team. Happy birthday, youth art team. I need to tell.
Oh, we need it.
Before the students even picked up a paintbrush to do this mural, they spent 5 weeks learning about how art transforms spaces. We drove around the city and looked at artwork and tried to figure out how would that space be different if that art wasn't there? What kind of message does that art give us? What do we think of when we see those things? And then they spent a lot of time brainstorming and trying to decide what is the youth art team's message going to be and how is the youth art team going to transform their space, right?
And then right up in there. You know, we're not allowed to touch this wall, so it makes it very difficult.
Hey, youth art team. Gosh, the world is changing. So many things are happening right now. I think it's so interesting that our 10th birthday is happening right in the middle of all of this. Because in the midst of change, it gives us a chance as a team to remember and to celebrate who we are. I want all of you artists, from the 18 artists who helped found the youth art team in 2010 to the 311 artists who have joined in the work since, to know that in 10 years, your artwork has transformed public spaces in our community for everyone to enjoy. Even more important, you have created artwork that asks questions and causes conversation. You have brought people together through your art who would not have gathered in the same spaces without you. You have shared your ideas and your voices with your community, and you have demonstrated that love is power. None of that has changed. The adult volunteers who cheered you on during those 10 years are still cheering you on. Those relationships are real, and those relationships are strong. The partnerships you helped create in this community are real, and they are strong. Your hearts are very real. Your hearts are very strong.
Happy birthday, Youth Art Team. Art makes you calm and helps you see the best in the world. Love you.
How cute is that? And you help both groups when you buy the album. These are very simple songs done in a very simple way for this album.
That's right. We just had each musician basically come in by themselves and record it live. You know, a lot of times when you get a recording, what you actually hear is each person doing each part of it many, many times, and then the producer editing it all together into a single performance that sounds perfect. That's not how we did this at all. We had each performer come in and basically play the song a couple times with Matt, and Matt, it's pretty true to the performance. So it's a very simple and honest way to record the songs.
And you're talking about Matt over at Twin Rock Recording.
Twin Rock,
We
yep.
really want to thank them too for what they've done. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave quite a bit of time to come listen to us bang away on the guitars and stuff.
And we should point out, this is a reprise of last year. This is the exact same album that people maybe didn't have a chance to buy or you ran out last year. So, Tony, I can't help but notice in the back right behind you is another great nonprofit that we've talked about many times and tried to help over the years, and that's Tate's Army. So there again, it's an idea of you guys kind of coming together to do something for the community. And in this case, you're doing a fantastic job. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. I mean, something that's really important to us at IFC is just doing good work, not only for our clients, but also for the good of the community as well. For us, we try to, hitch our wagon to at least one great cause every year. And, 1 year it was Tate's Army and 1 year it was the Christmas Project. And for us, having the digital album available allows this to live on year after year. So, for us, it was a really good opportunity for us to be involved in something that can pay dividends year after year.
We'll continue our discussion about the Christmas Project musical album in just a moment. And welcome back to this week's edition of the Steele Report. Let's continue our discussion now as we talk about a great local project. It's called the Christmas Project, a musical album available right now for you. So guys, let's wrap up this segment by talking again about your passion for this album, why you think it's so important. Andy, let's start with you.
So at the Youth Art Team 10th anniversary party, they put a video on the side of a wall, and it filled a parking lot with cars, and we watched 10 years of what they've done. And it was just incredible to see the progression from and all the different projects that they've done, the way that they've impacted the students that are involved in the project, but also the way they've made our city just a more beautiful and enjoyable place to be. So not only am I big into the Youth Art Team because, Heidi's my wife, but also I couldn't believe, looking at all the things they've done, just how much they've accomplished with a really limited amount of resources. So it was cool to see. I think it's really worthwhile to support that Youth Art Team.
I think a really neat thing about this album is that it's sort of a one-time opportunity to take advantage of something like this. These artists are from our community. They all, came together to sing these unique Christmas songs, and you're not going to be able to find this or buy this anywhere else. So it's an opportunity to be part of the community, to hear music created by our community, and then support two wonderful organizations in Youth Art Team and House of Hope at the same time.
Yeah, I think we wanted to bring this back again this year because there were so many people that enjoyed it last year. We actually got requests from people saying, when are you going to bring this back? And so it was really exciting to hear that so many people in the community loved it. We wanted to make it available to them. But again, it's all about helping out the nonprofits. And I think you know me well enough that I'm a sucker for anything that goes to helping kids. And the Youth Art Team just does such an amazing job teaching these kids such a great talent and how they can use that to change their lives. And then with House of Hope, just seeing these women transition from where they were to where they could be. Again, it's just, there's so much potential for the clients that go to both organizations that how could you not be excited about being part of this project?
So once again, let's talk about where people can buy this album, actually as the CD or the downloadable version. Who wants to take that? Where can you go? thechristmasmix.com, is that right?
Okay, so you can purchase it one of two places. If you're looking for the digital copy, you can purchase it online. Or if you just want to learn more about the project, the story, how it came together, as well as the two great organizations that the project supports, you can go to thechristmasmix.com. And then the other place you can go if you're looking for a physical copy, an actual CD, is any Sidecar Coffee location in Waterloo or Cedar Falls. And just to reiterate, there are a limited number of physical copies available. So be sure to stop in soon if you want to get your hands on a physical copy.
So once again, it's called The Christmas Project. It's available at thechristmasmix.com. We thank our guests for taking the time to be a part of this great local community project here during the holiday season. That's it for this week's edition of the Steel Report. A reminder, all of our shows are on KWWL.com. Go to the homepage, KWWL.com, find the Watch tab there, and move on down to the Steel Report, and that's where you'll find all of our previous shows. That's it for this week. We'll see you right here next week for the next edition of the Steel Report.